Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex. Today I'm going to be going back in time to the early days of UK BMX. Today I'm going to be taking a look at this. We Were Rad. This is a big book of basically BMX memories. It's the coolest history book you're ever likely to read. It's a big book of memories and photos and stories from back in the 80s, the origins of UK BMX. So today I'm going to do a quick flick through of the book, show you, not all of the book, but give you a flavor of what the book is like and what it looks like inside. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so welcome to my living room floor, because hashtag film is life. So this is the front cover of the book. It features a photo on the front called Ramp Mum, which is now called Ramp Mum, which is, I think it was basically chosen because it basically sums up life in the 80s in BMX, in UK BMX, people doing crazy things on bikes. And the back cover has another photo, which just again sums up BMX in the 80s in the UK. So upon opening up the book, you see these end papers with loads of cool photos from back in the day. We Were Rad, the story of UK BMX in the 80s as told by the people who lived and loved it, by Anthony Frashina, I hope I'm saying that right, Clint Pilkington and Andrew Rigby, the trio behind this production. So chapter 1 being Rad, which is just a load of quotes and photos and memories from back in the day. Loads and loads and loads of photos. I think there's over 1,000 photos in this book, I think. I may have heard that wrong. There are a lot of photos. And I'm not going to show you every page, because one, you really should go and buy this book to experience it for yourself, and two, it'll take ages. So yeah. Okay, I think we're on to the second chapter now. Cow horns and cotter pins. This is about people who were first getting into, when people were first getting into BMX in the UK. So there were loads of people who had choppers and rally grifters and all these other types of bikes that are around. And in a lot of cases, kids, or most likely their parents, would convert their non-BMX bike into something that resembled a BMX as closely as possible. Yeah, so these are just basically lots of tales of conversions and people getting into BMX, getting into the racing side of it. That was common back in the day. The obligatory lolly stick or Coke can would get wedged in the back wheel to make an engine sound. Heck yeah. Loads of people did that. I did that back in the day. V-bars and pedal scars. So you see, this isn't just like photos, you also see ads, and later on you'll see, if I get to that page, you'll see banners, and there's just a load of cool memorabilia in this book as well. Okay, so this is chapter 4, BMX Dreams. How people actually got into BMX and getting their first bike. And yeah, nagging, my persistent nagging was finally rewarded at Christmas with a blue puck saber. Best Christmas ever, yeah. Mom, Dad, can I have a BMX? Can I get a BMX? Can I get a BMX? So yeah, loads of stories and photos and some jerseys from back then as well. Racing jerseys and jerseys in general. Rally patch. My first bike was my first proper BMX bike was a rally burner. Such a fun bike. Loved that bike to bits. Unfortunately, I had to leave it behind when I moved house. Okay, curbs, commons, and canals. You find what academics would call parts of the built environment, where everyone else would just call curbs and pavements and ramps. And you go to those places and you send it. That's an awesome shot. Love that shot. So yeah, you go out with your mates or just on your own, if you had to, if you didn't know anyone else who rode, and you go out and yeah, get rad. It's a bit of a stretch to call this a photo book, but it kind of is a photo book. There are a lot of stories and memories from back in the day, but yeah, if somebody were to mistake this for a photo book, they wouldn't be far wrong. But it's the best photo book you've ever seen in your life. And each of these chapters is big. I mean, you know, this is a thick book, and each chapter is huge. I mean, check that out for a photo from back then. Yeah, that's just like, yeah. And I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, tricks back in the day, you know, as BMX tricks were being invented, and you know, people over here started doing tricks in the UK. You know, a lot of 80s BMX tricks are actually really hard. So there's that. Chapter 6, race. This is all about racing, the early days of BMX racing in the UK. So there's a banner there from the first BMX, the first sanctioned governing body, blah, 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 BMX event in the UK, Redditch, on the 30th of August 1980. However, that wasn't the first organised race. The first organised race was at Brockwell Park in London in 1979, I think it was. So yeah, loads of photos from back in the day, back in the early days of racing. How many times am I actually going to say back in the day in this video? Yeah, loads and loads and loads of race photos. And what I do is basically a continuation of what these people did, people who took these photos. You know, I'm doing video and some photo as well, and I'm just continuing what they did, you know, capturing the moments, recording them for posterity, or as long as YouTube's around, I suppose. And yeah, just putting that on YouTube. Birmingham Wheels project, which was an inclusive, very inclusive project to bring BMX to Birmingham. Paul Newshome over there, that's the kid from the cover photo. So yeah, that's, I think, his racing license. Meeting your heroes. They say you should never meet your heroes because they might not turn out to be the way you thought they were. But in BMX, people have always been like, you know, the kind of the big name racers and, you know, pros and elites and so on have always been really, really accessible. So that's one of the things that makes BMX such an awesome sport. And now we get on to freestyle. Everyone did a bit of freestyle back then. It's part of street riding and honing your skills. So yeah, there were competitions and demonstrations, and yeah, a lot of skate parks. You know, of course, BMXers would head into skate parks and use those, learning all the tricks. Picture there of Max Cooper, who you might know as the guy who runs Gumball 3000, the car race. Yeah, he used to ride back then. So and then we get on to chapter 8, shops and sponsorship. The shops that basically were the lifeblood of BMX. You know, I mean, you need to go somewhere to buy a bike. So yeah, these shops would happily sell you a bike and supported the sport as well. Edwards and Campbell, which is still going to this day. I see adverts for them at Nationals up on the screen in Manchester, and yeah, they're still going to this day. Allen's, still a major UK BMX store up in the north of England. So yep, they're still going. So yeah, this chapter is all about the sponsors and the shops and the kind of the retail side. Shiner's still going. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Shiner's still going. They're a distributor. This is Speak and Spell. This is all about media. So this is magazines, films. You know, how many people saw E.T. and saw the BMX stuff in E.T. and decided, yeah, I want a BMX. Chips, there's an episode of Chips that also had BMX in it. That was a TV show. Yeah, so this is, if you didn't know, the cadence that you hear at the beginning of every race. You know, okay, riders, random start. Back in the day, it was this.
rider's ready, pedals ready, go. And someone would shout that and, you know, drop the gate. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Of course, videos eventually became a big part of BMX. You know, you'd go and get tapes and watch those. Then we go on to mixtape. This is chapter 10, mixtapes, big brands and fakes. Music, fashion has always been a part of BMX. So this is all about, you know, the music, the clothes, the look. If you couldn't get the real thing, like, you know, if you're after a particular brand and you couldn't get the real thing, then you'd get the, you know, the knockoff. And LS, Lacoste, you know, all these brands. And yeah, back then, if it's what you wanted, then you'd want to go out and get that. And then we get on to chapter 11, Radness Unlimited. I think this is more about the lifestyle, you know, living and breathing BMX. And that, you know, BMX wasn't just a sport, it wasn't just, you know, kids riding bikes. It was a lifestyle, it was part of your identity, part of your personality, it was who you were basically. We'd ride till the moon came up, then do dumb stunts and wind-ups, just ace stuff. Yeah, that's a great photo. Riding through a fire pit, that's awesome. And there's Max Cooper again. And then at the end of the book, there's a few stories and bits about how people started to get out of BMX because, you know, life happened, you know, things happen, family, and you know, people found girlfriends, boyfriends, significant others. You know, they got married, they had kids, got jobs, etc., etc. But a lot of people who got out of BMX have in recent years been coming back to BMX because they just remember how fun it was. So yeah, a lot of people got out of freestyle and racing back then. They've been coming back, and that's awesome to see. The cast, this is just a load of names of people who have sent in material for the book. And then we've got some thanks and respects. And then we've got these awesome end papers at the back again with different photos from the front. Yeah, just loads of photos from the early days of BMX. So that is We Were Rad. Hopefully you will have seen that this book is well worth getting your hands on. If you have any interest in what BMX looked like back in the day, it's basically a piece of history. It's a book that chronicles the history of the early days of UK BMX. Thank you so much to Andrew, Clint and Anthony for making this project happen. You know, huge props to you guys. This took a ton of work. It must have taken a ton of work to put together. And I'm really grateful that, you know, you took the time to do that and, you know, to see this project through to completion. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.